Hello, friends, it's Robin. Quick little bonus drop because, drum roll, we have been nominated for a Signal Award. Woo! Okay, our nomination is in the money and finance category, which, honestly feels absolutely perfect because, as you all know, I do love math, I love spreadsheets, and I love all things budgeting. Do not judge me. Okay, but here's the thing. We'd love it if you could vote for us. It's super easy. All you have to do is go to vote.signalaward.com. And that website, it's going to be in the show notes, folks. We're going to make it easy for you. And when you get there, just search for Well Adjusting and then click that shiny little button and vote for us. That's it. No long forums, no waiting in line, no talking to people. We love that. And guess what? The race is tight right now. So every vote counts. And it helps more people find out about this little podcast. And it gives me one more reason to color code my Google Sheets. So again, go to vote.signalaward.com, search Well Adjusting, and hook us up with a vote, or simply click the link in the show notes. And thank you everyone for listening. Thanks for adjusting with us. And if we win, I promise not to make another spreadsheet joke for, at least a week. Probably.
Edit audio.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Hopkins, and this is Well Adjusting, where I talk to people about life stuff, but not in an NPR way. It's more like we're at the bar, having cocktails, getting into your business sort of way.
It's giving drunk NPR.
Oh, and producer Steph is here too.
Hello.
Today we chat, bringing yourself back to the present. I am so frigging excited for today's episode, y'all. Joining us is Josh Pais. Now, Josh is the actor that you know from, everything. He started out playing Raphael in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and since then he's been in over 150 movies and TV shows, like Ray Donovan, High Maintenance, Younger. I could go on and on and on, but I'll just say he's worked with Edward Norton, Meryl Streep, and De Niro. Well, he's here today because he's the founder of Committed Impulse, which is a training program that began as an approach to acting, but has evolved into a tool for everyone from entrepreneurs to doctors to lawyers. And now he's written a book about it called Lose Your Mind, The Path to Creative Invincibility, which I am obsessed with. So, of course, I wanted to get him in here today so that we could talk about embracing aliveness and spontaneity. And the one thing you need to know before we get started is that before we hit record on this one, Steph was kind of freaking out about a bug that was in her room. Now, why am I telling you this? All will become clear. Now, for the love of God, let's get to Josh. So Josh, first of all, I'm so thrilled that you said yes and you wanted to come in and chat with us. But just for our listeners, I know you, my pal Michelle was like, you've got to do Josh Pais, you've got to do his acting class. You have to do it. And she kept telling me about it. And finally I was like, I got in there, and then I was absolutely blown away. And so I am going to say that I have in the neighborhood of 1 million questions for you, but I would love to start.
Fantastic. This is going to be like a 24-hour podcast.
We're going to be here until next Tuesday. I hope you're cool with that.
Totally.
Get some snacks. But maybe you could start by talking just a little bit about Committed Impulse so people know what we're talking about.
Well, let me start with how I began to uncover what this Committed Impulse thing is. Early on, after going to acting school, I went to acting school outside of New York. I came back to New York where I grew up, and one audition after another was absolutely disastrous. I was full of anxiety, fear, nervousness. I had so much crap running through my head. So much doubt, so much I suck kind of thoughts. And I really didn't know if I could keep going in this business. And I reflected on something that my father had told me when I was I was about 6 years old, and I was trying to get to the bottom of what his career was. And he started by telling me, he said, "Do you see that table next to where you're sitting?" I was like, "Yeah, but what's your job?" And then he was like, "Do you see your knee?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're not answering the question." And then he said, "The smallest part of that table and the smallest part of your knee are the same things, atoms. And that's what I explore, the building blocks of the universe." So listeners know my dad, Abraham Pais, was a theoretical physicist who worked with Einstein for 11 years. And so, cut back to me auditioning and remembering what my father had told me. And I started to, instead of holding, we're all taught that certain sensations are good and certain sensations are bad. And for example, when I was feeling anxiety, it's a cultural notion that anxiety is bad. So I would try all kinds of things to get rid of it. But reflecting on what my dad told me, I started to experiment feeling emotions as they actually are, as opposed to my judgment about them. And emotions are vibrational patterns in the body. And so instead of holding anxiety as bad, I started to just feel the energetic pattern of the anxiety energy that was in my body. And then it started to free me up. And then everything started to become creative fuel as opposed to me constantly managing myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then one other piece just about managing, we're so conditioned to perpetually manage what we're feeling. But as soon as we suppress the body, the mind gets super active.
Yeah.
And in those situations, it's basically telling us that we suck. Or it'll tell us, oh, you're doing really good. And then you buy into your mind. And then it goes, not really. You're not doing that good. So that was a beginning genesis of committed impulse, of starting to experience the body outside of a psychological framework, outside of that anything is wrong no matter what you're feeling. And that started to lead towards presence. And for me, my definition of presence is being fully engaged with what's around you, being fully engaged in your body to the point that, yeah, your mind is going to keep chattering, but it's going to be like a distant chatter. And you're not dominated by all the thoughts in your head.
What I find so fascinating about everything that you just said is you're absolutely right. I don't know whether it's coming from society or from ourselves or maybe both. This idea that if I'm anxious, I have to get rid of that. And that's one of the earliest things I remember you saying. You were talking about when you're in an audition and you're feeling nervous. And that goes for anyone who's not an actor, that goes so far beyond that. Who's not nervous, right? And I to that point, all I was trying to do was work and figure out ways to not be nervous so that I could then audition well. And I didn't start doing well until I did what you told me, which was actually just be with it. It is where it is. I mean, you're going to say this 100 times better than I just said. But I just think it is so important to acknowledge that we are all thinking it's wrong where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And in my book, I call that the greatest myth of our time. And I firmly believe that the greatest myth of our time is this notion, this belief that there are good sensations and bad sensations, and that it is in our DNA. We're built to feel everything we feel.
Yeah.
And it's only an idea that this is good and this is bad. And that's what causes so many issues for people. I mean, it starts with, I don't like what I'm feeling. Let me
squish it down.
Let me do this in whatever that, form may be. And like I said, as soon as we manage, suppress, alter the natural sensations in the body, the mind fires up. And the mind is not kind.
Yeah.
Yes, I do rhyme. I do rhyme.
I remember you saying something, and I think we talked about it when we used your I'm Back for that previous episode. You talked about how there's only, a handful of patterns or thoughts that people have, that negative beliefs that we have about ourselves, and they're just on a loop and we're saying them over and over and over again.
Yeah. Most people I've found just from doing this work for over 3 decades, when you boil it down, most people have 7 recurring shitty statements in their head. And what our mind wants to do, it will throw one of those shitty statements down, like, things never work out for you. So your mind will drop that down, hoping that you will then start reviewing everything in your life that didn't work out. And next thing you know, you're lost in a mental drama out of the moment. And then your mind has got you where it wants. And I think a lot of the operational system of the mind is an ancient survival strategy, just to keep us out of the moment, to keep us from, very, in a sense, in the cave. Because if we step outside the cave, anything can happen. But that's also where the magic is. When you step into the unknown, when you step into anything can happen. And it's really time that we rewire ourselves to step more into the unknown than step into old patterns. Because you just look at the world, and as a species, we're pretty stuck in our heads, and it's not producing the greatest results.
Sure isn't. Well, you're starting to talk about presence. Like, can you touch on that and also talk a little bit about I'm Back? It's my favorite thing in the whole world that you do besides your work.
Well, so there are 4 access points to presence. I'm going to save I'm Back for the last, so that it's like dessert. So the 4 access points are staying connected to all the sensation in the body, and we can talk about all the different levels of sensation that are available in the body. But for right now, let's say the body. The next is connecting to the immediate environment. And we can also talk about ways that you can actually do that. The other is just to keep the breath going, because as soon as we decrease the breath, the body starts booting down and the mind starts booting up. And then the 4th, for dessert, is I'm Back. And I'm Back is to be used the moment that you catch that your mind is dominating you. So what typically happens is, we're going along, we're in a conversation, we're whatever, and our mind all of a sudden starts pulling us into something that happened yesterday, or a resentment, or something you're looking forward to, or something. And then there's a period of time where you don't know that you've left. Like, you're just in it. You're in the department store where somebody cut in front of you, and you don't know it. But then comes a moment where you realize that your mind has just taken you on this journey. And at that moment, as you remember in class, if anybody in class drifts off, as soon as they're aware that they drifted off, they say, I'm back. So I encourage everybody that's listening, when you catch that your mind has pulled you into a mental drama, you say, I'm back, and then you return to your body, your breath, and the immediate environment until your mind catches you again, and then you keep returning to what's real. Because what the mind spins is just old stories, like I said, one of those 7 narratives. And I'll just say one other thing, then you talk for a while, is that it's so valuable to recognize what your 7 narratives are. The reason being is that your mind likes to operate below the surface and keep throwing these out, as a lure. But if you know what they are, then when you hear, you're never going to make it, you're too old, this sucks, they don't like you. As soon as you hear one of your 7 favorites, your mind's 7 favorites, that will help you to instantly snap out of it. And it's like, no, we're not going down that road.
Yeah. It was also so wild in class because you did encourage it, and like you'd be talking or we'd be in the middle of an exercise and you'd just hear somebody be like, I'm back. Or what I thought was always really amazing, which spoke to how in tune you were to the people, is like you'd be talking about something and you could tell everyone was wandering off emotionally and you'd go, everybody, I'm back. And everybody be like, I'm back. And you could see everybody be like, oh shit, I didn't even know I was gone. And it's like, what I think about is like, you know, we also talk about this other technique called the stop technique that I got from the podcast I work on at Headspace, which has similar connotations. It's like stop, which S is actually stop, T is take a breath, O is observe, and then P is proceed with the next right action. So it's like in the world of I'm back. But I just think it's that moment of like when I'm not doing those techniques, I am so much less aware that I floated off. But the more that I do it, the more I'm like, oh shit, I'm gone. And I think that's a really interesting thing of the work, is that the more you do it, the more you are present.
Yeah, it's building the muscle of staying here.
Yeah.
And, you know, just going back to what we were saying earlier, what often leads us away from the moment is when we feel something that we have a low tolerance for.
Yeah.
And this work is about increasing your tolerance for you, increasing your tolerance for your full range of experience.
Yeah.
And that opens the creative channel, that generates aliveness, that opens up playfulness, you know, and we can't selectively edit ourselves. If we feel some fear, and we don't just tune into the actual energetic pattern of it, and we start booting down the experience of fear, we also boot down joy. We boot down everything. We can't just cut out. Our mind thinks we can cut out one slice of, I am not going to feel fear.
Yeah.
But we
I
just
will not
end
be
up
anxious.
in a smaller and smaller box.
Yeah.
And fear is awesome. Like fear is just, it's like a creative jetpack of fuel. It's there to help you.
I can see how, like, as an actor, it's obviously going to be invaluable because it's going to open up every emotion so you can be present, you can listen and respond to who you're working with, you can find a character, you can find yourself in the character, all of that jazz. But, like, I'd love for you to talk about, because it's like somewhere in the neighborhood of when I first started taking classes with you, and then later, like all of a sudden you started to speak to entrepreneurs and to other people, and you were like, you could be a teacher and this is relevant. And that's a big focus of your book, which is that this is something that is going to help everyone. And so I want to know like how you started to feel that transition, and when you were like, wait a minute, I'm on to something bigger than just like helping people be good in commercials.
Right.
Which is what you have done for me. Thank you much.
Oh, good.
Thanks. Good. And one Law and Order. Thanks.
Oh, good. I didn't get my percentage check yet, but I guess that's in the mail.
It's coming.
It's coming.
I think it got sent back to me. It should be there any minute.
Yeah. All right.
It's coming.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, everybody has the equivalent of an audience, whether it's an audience of one. For example, I've done a lot of work with doctors, or it's an audience of literally can be even millions if somebody's online. And when anyone puts their ass further out into the world, in a sense, facing their audience, the body naturally starts vibrating at a higher frequency. And this could even be dating. This could be a first date or a blind date. Make it even, more potentially like an audience. And going into any situation where you're facing an audience, the vibrations in the body increase. And if we don't increase our tolerance for those vibrations and welcome them and use them and play with them, then we'll, as we've been saying, we're going to shut our system down and be in our head. And, say a public speaker, if a public speaker is in front of people and they start to feel fear and they shut it down and then they start hearing like, do they like me? How's this going? Oh my God, how much longer do I have? Blah, blah, blah. As soon as we go in our head, our audience disengages. Because if we disengage from us, from ourselves, then how can anybody engage with us?
Right.
I've worked with doctors who, luckily, and these are good doctors that recognized that their patients were leaving, a doctor's visit feeling worse than when they came in, even if it was a checkup. And a lot of that has to do with when doctors, and it can be anything, like a salesperson, anything, goes on autopilot and is not tuned in to the magic of the person that's before them. And people are desperate to be heard. They're desperate to be sensed. And if you're doing business with other people and you're on an autopilot, sales pitch or what have you, it's not going to go as well as if you surrender to the moment, surrender to the unknown. Of course you have your agenda, and of course you have your sales pitch, but it's combined with the magic of the current moment. And I've seen, working with entrepreneurs, working with doctors, working with lawyers, when they're open to that exchange, just as actors have to be open to one another in a scene, their businesses flourish.
Yeah. It's like that indefinable quality that attracts you to other people.
Yeah.
Basketball game? Crushed it. And the day's just getting started. Now, kicking it with my crew. When I need a quick snack, Go-Go Squeeze Active Fruit Blend with electrolytes pouches are always in the starting lineup. Made with real fruit and select electrolytes. And so tasty. From workouts to hangouts to whatever's next, I go with Go-Go Squeeze Active. Snag yours on your next store run. Available on Amazon.
I want to bring in producer Steph because I have a feeling she also has a million questions. And she's not part of the cult of Josh, so I want her to come in with an outside perspective as well.
I'm not part of the cult of Josh, though I'm quickly becoming part of the
but
cult
we're going to
of
get
Josh.
T-shirts, so we're making T-shirts. I want them to be bedazzled. It's a whole thing.
Oh, wow. Sweet.
So I am a part of the cult of acceptance commitment therapies, which feels similar.
Okay.
But I guess, so, I started this conversation being there is a bug with way too many legs in this room somewhere.
Yes.
And then we're hilariously talking about being present. And I feel myself constantly being okay, where the fuck is that bug?
Right.
Is it on top of me? Is it crawling around? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And so my first question is, do you
how to deal with bugs?
How to deal with bugs, get rid of them all inside the house. Outside, they can live freely.
Okay.
But no, my question is, how is this a practice that you find useful for moments like that where you're just coming out of the present conversation and bringing yourself out? Or is this more a practice about dealing with those 7 circling awful shitty thoughts, which, by the way, I probably have 9,000, but let's say 7.
Well, it sounds like there's 2 things going on. One is the experience that you're having in your body, for example, the fear, right? So do you feel some of that fear right now?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you actually feel? What's the actual sensation? Well, where in your body is that fear located?
Soda pop, bubble carbonation in my chest and my fingertips. And I feel hot.
Okay. So just take a breath and really feel it, not to get rid of it, but just really tune into those bubbles and the warmth and your fingertips. Now, honestly, is that a terrible sensation? If you don't call it fear, but you're feeling what you call fear, if you feel those bubbles, you feel an increase in body temperature and you feel your fingertips, it's not, well, you tell me.
Well, no, the feeling, the physical feeling is not the awful part.
Okay. So what is the awful part? The thoughts?
Yeah, I guess it's the thought, and it's that I tie that feeling to the thought.
Okay, so if you can the more you can welcome those bubbles, and that it's all there to help you, and it's all there, our body wants us to be present, and we have all these sensations in our body to be used to pull us into the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can catch when your mind starts, so what is your mind saying, or what was it saying?
About the bug?
Yeah, well, or whatever. Yeah, sure, about the bug.
Stay with the bug.
I'm so sorry that we're now making this podcast about a bug that came into my room.
No, it's good.
No, I'm scared that it's in the room, that it's hidden, that it will show up.
But what is the thought that you're having?
It's like a fear for my personal safety, and then
But what's the thought? I don't think your thought is, I fear for my personal safety. But what's the actual thought?
That it will like end up inside of my body somehow.
Okay, so like that it's going to crawl inside your body.
Yes, or already has. And then I have a secondary thought that is like, I will ruin this interview because it will like end up coming out of my eyeball or something.
Wow.
Which I also have OCD, so
I think that would make this
We would go
phenomenal.
viral.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think
That's
we
true.
should
That's
like
true.
aim for that. But before you said I have, 10,000 thoughts. Like what are the, stepping just for a moment away from the bug, like what are some of your most common thoughts? It can almost be embarrassing to say them out loud. And in a sense, our mind doesn't want to say them out loud, because as soon as you say them out loud, it's like you start to see that it's just a mechanical bird dropping.
I mean, my number one, I would say, is that like the rug is going to be pulled out. So
Okay.
like the whatever stability or like beauty that I have will disappear.
Okay, great. That's awesome.
Just super light.
So, yeah, hey, no, but it's great. It's great to identify it. So what I would suggest is when you hear that thought, notice what body sensation you're suppressing, because I would guess that you're going along your day and you feel something that you don't like. And then you try to hamper it down, and then that thought drops down, and then it's like you open this giant dusty book with proof, and then your mind has got you.
Yeah.
And so
Are you saying the physical moment helps you identify the thought? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that when you get caught into one of your thought loops, see what you're suppressing in your body and feel it more. So that's your I'm back moment. And then see if you can just increase your tolerance for maybe that fear, what you call fear. Like maybe it's those bubbles and that heat and a more awareness in your fingertips, so that instead of trying to process your thoughts or trying to improve your thoughts, you want to step out of that paradigm completely, because it's a no-win game.
I'm notoriously bad at and working on noticing, and I like this way that you broke it down into 4 access points, because I feel like I'm very good at, or could be very good at 3 of them, and the one I'm very bad at is my connection to my own body.
Okay. Should we play with that for a moment?
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So there's various layers of experience that are available to us. So tune into the skin on your body, maybe from your toes all the way up the front of your body to your forehead. Like just feel that skin and just breathe. And feel the skin on the back of your body from your heels all the way up to the back of your head. And feel the skin on your arms and the skin on your lower back.
I love this. I get little goosebumps.
Okay, good. Good. So now, like going a little further in, see if you can have awareness of the muscles in your body, maybe even tendons. At some point when you practice this, you can even feel the bones. And just breathe as you just experiment. Anytime your mind goes, you're doing this wrong. Why did you do this? Just say, I'm back. And now tune into whatever emotion is in your body. And in each given moment, there's a predominant emotion. So first see where in your body that emotion is. What emotion do you feel right now? Can you identify?
I feel very two conflicting ones. One is flight and one is calm.
Okay, great. So feel that. Just feel the flight and the calm. And just welcome both of those. And just feel the nature, the energetic pattern of calm. Like how are the atoms moving in your body where you feel calm? And also notice how the atoms are moving where you feel flight. These are natural body sensations. There's nothing bad about either of those sensations. And calm, if we can let go of the notion that calm is better than flight, then the world opens up to us. We don't need to manage ourselves constantly. So, what emotion do you feel right now?
I feel nice.
Nice?
Yeah.
Okay. And where do you feel it? Like, can you identify what that is? Like, what are the atoms doing? Or is it throughout your entire body?
I feel like it's like my arms and my stomach mostly.
Okay. And what are the atoms doing there?
Raining maybe, but nice rain.
Okay. And now we just kind of made our way into it, but just notice the energetic patterns in your body. Notice energy, and energy can move, from your right shoulder down to your left toe, just, instantaneously. But just notice that there's energetic patterns moving throughout your body. And just welcome that. Say, I'm back.
I'm back.
And then lastly, just notice energy that is extending from the perimeter of your body into the room that you're in. Like, just feel how, maybe, some people might call that an aura, but just feel the energetic pattern that's extending outward. That's just the practice of tuning into, there's so much information available constantly. And most people radically limit their connection to all of that sensation. And that's relative to how much those people are listening to the thoughts in their head, the shitty thoughts in their head.
What's interesting is I have made Robin on this show before do a very similar exercise because since I've been a kid, I was always doing like body scan meditations where you like start at your toes, you go up, you go down, and then after you expand out into the room. And I do it with like colors, but you can do it however. And I love that practice because I feel in my body. But
and do you notice maybe in retrospect that it quiets your mind or that you're not as,
very much so. And I think that it makes me, I think I love that exercise so much because it's like a moment where I feel very in my body.
Yes.
My thought about not being able to access one of the access points as well is more when I'm in like a heightened phase.
High pressure situation.
Where, then do I go back and do a body scan and then start from there and then.
Well, the body scan is, something to train with, something to practice. And I throughout the book, I have like lots of exercises to lead you rather effortlessly into a connection with the body. But for example, if I'm filming a scene in a movie, and I'm walking to set, and all of a sudden my mind starts going like, they might fire, they're going to fire you. They're going to discover that you're a fraud. They're going to blah, blah, just all that kind of stuff. And then I actively come back into my body, tune into my body, connect to what's around me, and then everything takes care of itself. And I think our mind wants to hold the notion that if we surrender, if we fully connect to our body, if we keep our breath going and we fully let our environment vibrate with us and we connect to our environment, there's a notion that, well, then you're going to be a mess, or then you're going to not be as effective. But the opposite is true. That's what opens the creative channel. That's what will be, you're accessing something so much deeper and richer than the chatter.
I feel like I should pay you for this. I just got like a full session.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Her check is coming with my check.
Yeah.
Even just listening and watching that was like helpful. But it brings up a question for me about like a slippery slope. Like for me, where I would all of a sudden be like, yeah, so if I do it properly and if I do it, then the wave will come and go. But then I think I am still trying to move it out versus accessing it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like a fancier way of doing it.
Yeah. And it's like we have to, my book is called Lose Your Mind, and we have to step out of our mind. As soon as you catch that your mind is having a discussion with you about whether you're doing it right or not, it's like that's your warning sign to step out of that paradigm completely. That paradigm's not going to help you.
Yeah.
We're so enculturated to listen to our mind and to figure things out.
Yeah.
And, just a little story that I remember my dad telling me, and he worked with Niels Bohr, he worked with Oppenheimer, he worked with all the leading physicists of the day. And so often they would make these amazing discoveries when they were, taking a step onto the bus or going for a walk, or when they weren't pounding themselves to come up with the answer. When they stepped away, when they surrendered, that's when their greatest insights came in.
Yeah. We really are told that, like everything is based on learning. And if I do this course and if I do that, it's like there's a reward system built in. You're smarter, you have more credentials, and you get it more. But it does feel like you're further away from instincts.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm all for learning and taking it all in, but it can't be at the expense of the present moment and your instincts. Your impulses are the purest, most beautiful expression of who you are. And we can't let all this nonsense and doing it right get in the way of that. That's what people want. That's what people want from you. And that's the biggest gift you have to the world, is that pure impulse, that creative impulse.
What do you say to someone who's like, okay, great, I'm super nervous, I feel it in my chest, everything's tight, and I got that, but it's not appropriate for the place where I am? Like, how do these two things exist at the same time? Like, it's not appropriate. I'm supposed to be an expert, and I'm supposed to be standing here. It's not appropriate for me to be like, I'm fucking nervous, and that's great. And here's what I'm telling you about brain surgery. Like,
right. Well, an interesting thing, and you may remember this from class, is that there are exercises where one person is in front of class doing stream of consciousness, where they're just reporting, I feel this, I feel that, I feel this, I feel that. And when somebody connects to the actual sensation in their body, even nervousness, will take nervousness. If they connect to that vibrational frequency, they appear mighty. They appear authentic because they are authentic, and they command the room. And this goes back to this great myth that there's good and bad. If you're in front, you're giving your pitch and you feel nervous, if you suppress that, the pitch will not be as good and people won't be able to hear you. It takes some practice to increase your tolerance for all of you, but if you allow those vibrations to be there and fully be in your body and fully be with who's in front of you, it's going to be magical. Now, your mind will disagree with that. I'm sure people listening to this will be like, no, that's not true. But, I've been doing this for 30 years and it is true.
Ooh, the work is so important. I first want to just thank you for coming in and talking this through. This is it's what you do is amazing. And I want everyone to go get the book. So I want you to tell them where they can get the book but also can people come study with you? So maybe tell all that business.
Okay. Well, the book and audiobook officially drops September 30th, and it's called Lose Your Mind, The Path to Creative Invincibility, available everywhere. And in terms of classes and coming and training with me, go to committedimpulse.com, and there's always the most amazing people in these courses.
The biggest compliment I could give to you is that coming out of your classes, lights would always be brighter. The world just seemed crisper. And I always knew how alive I felt coming out of it. And so I'm really, really thankful, first of all, for the work, for what you've given me, but just taking the time to come on the podcast and share this with us. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Oh my God, what a beautiful sentence.
It's so rare that I do that. So I'm glad I pulled it off.
Yeah, you always, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing exercises with me and taking the time to do that. And
absolutely,
I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Well, that is a wrap for us today, folks. But before I go, I do want to say thank you so much to Josh for sitting down with us and sharing all that goodness. And hey, if you want more info on Josh, you could start by buying his book, Lose Your Mind, The Path to Creative Invincibility, which is available everywhere. Or you could check out his website, committedimpulse.com. You will not regret it. For more Robin, and you may need that, you probably don't need it, but if you do, you can follow me at Real Rob Hops on all the platforms, all the socials, as the kids today say. Well Adjusting is an Edit Audio original series. It's exec produced by Steph Colburn and Robin Hopkins. Our producer and editor is Maria Passingham, and our production manager is Kathleen Speckert. Thank you to the entire Edit Audio team and to you for listening. Oh, hey, before you take out those AirPods, this show is just for entertainment. If you are in need of help, please, please, please reach out to a professional. Go ahead and get that help. You deserve it.